Welcome to Unity Inspired Living. Our community began in 1989 as a small worldwide Unity book study group, and we've continued the momentum as an ever-evolving spiritual community. Each Sunday, you will find dynamic thought leaders delivering inspiring messages and talented musicians sharing sound healing through their melody. Here, we embrace ancient spiritual traditions, universal truths, and emerging wisdom. Let's check out this Sunday message. We're so grateful you've joined us. Have tuned in to this morning because it is a powerful one. I invite us to prepare our heart and listen deeply as the Prince of Peace, the Prince of Peace, Michael J. Allen, shares, wounds are the origin of wisdom. Listen. Thank you. We are so deeply grateful for your presence with us.
Buckets and buckets of gratitude. And this is my hero. Jesus Christ is my hero. You know, if I had to pick anybody out who was the man on the planet that lit me up, I would say it was Jesus, because as much as I read about Jesus, I haven't read anything that he complained about. Whether it was his challenges, wounds, only giving feedback to people who had fear, doubt, worry, and shame of self. So he's an incredible model in my imagination to be like. And I know the boy had wounds. Come on, he was carrying that big old cross going up the mountain. They're about to kill him. He had wounds. They talked about him. They judged him, criticized him, doubted him. They loved him. They followed him. They appreciated him. But we don't always surrender because the wound inside of us comes in so many different ways. So many different ways. You can never imagine how a wound will appear. And a wound is not an attack. I'm not talking about, oh, something happened to me in the world. No, I'm not talking about that. A wound develops because your attention is not on it. And it needs your attention. And it's something that will draw you into it. And now you have choice. Me, I had choice. For many years, I'd find my wounds and I'd be so excited, you know, old therapist guy knowing how to dig in and get the dark stuff, the dirty stuff, the painful stuff, the emotional stuff. I'm good at that. And many of us are. And we turn it into a wound because it doesn't go away the more we put our attention on it. It doesn't go away because we're putting our attention on it. Be aware. Yes, I know the difference now. What you focus on. So I stopped focusing on the wounds and I started loving the wounds because I know they had wisdom I didn't think I had the courage to dig into. And there are many reasons why we stay away from our wounds. I stayed away from my wounds because I didn't want to feel the pain that I thought my wound was giving me. So I ignored it. I put shade on it. I covered it up. I put a different personality in front of it, a different mindset, belief systems that would not hurt me. But the more I stay away from my wounds, the bigger the wounds got. And I'm talking spiritual wounds, emotional wounds, confusion, how confusion can cause you to feel stressed and not seen, not received, not heard. We are energy beings. We are multidimensional energy beings. We feel all of this. We feel all of the feedback our wounds start to bring us. So wounds have sacred information. They have sacred energy. All we have to do is turn to it. And because we are eternal soul beings, transform the energy. If your wound is telling you, it's important for you to listen before you start thinking about what to do. I would go, that's pretty intelligent. I should listen more. That's what my wound told me. I'd probably learn more if I listen more. Okay, see, that feels better. Just that thought feels better about the wound. Now I'm expecting something wonderful to happen because my attention is not on the wound. It's on something wonderful emerging from the wound, something that I appreciate, that I have compassion for, that I have empathy for, that I turn into a power of love, a power of giving. I have the power to do that. So my wounds start to excite me. If I heal my wounds, I'll have more confidence and more faith and more trust in the power within. So my wounds start to tell me where to put my attention so that I could stop distracting myself by looking for love outside of myself. My biggest accomplishment to healing wounds and exposing them is my passion to be the presence of love. Even if I'm in pain, even if my wounds are shouting at me, can I be the presence of love? Because this is where I'm at with this. I'm a human being called male, black, in a body. I'm on the planet. I'm grooving. I'm having a good time. I'm alive. But the light that shines within me, the truth of that light, is I'm an eternal soul who chose to come to this experience, this dimension, and raise it. That idea of a bigger passion, a bigger vision for my life beyond my human experiences that can be very, very challenging. Sometimes we don't know if life is for us or against us, and we start attacking our wounds, ignoring them, denying them, blaming them on someone, blaming them on something we did, judging ourselves, criticizing ourselves, wishing it were different. That wound is like, yeah, give me more, give me more. But if you look at that wound and you, the creator within you, the soul within you, the believer within you, the knower within you, turns to the wound and blesses the wound for the wisdom it brought you to be more loving of yourself, more kind to yourself. The wound may just be a bad argument you can never apologize for, but if you begin to forgive yourself for judging yourself for the outcome of that wound and for that wound being there, if you begin to see that wound has just got your attention, now bring your heart into it, bring your soul into it, bring your passion into you being the recipient of something wonderful. You're alive. You're breathing. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? I mean, life could suck right now, but if you were breathing, could you at least say, that's pretty wonderful. I'm still breathing. That's one step away from the wound. And if you could say to yourself, I take full responsibility for these wounds I created in my confusion of my experience called life. I get it twisted sometimes. I put more attention on being a human being and trying to find out what's happening in the world than to stop and ask my soul, which way do I go? And the healing of the wound starts to become real to you because you're not running from pain, confusion, what you don't know, limiting experiences, painful experience. You're not running from those things. You turn to them and you say, I'm created by the greatest intelligence in the universe. I'm created by God. And I believe and I know that there's an intelligence inside of me that knows exactly how to transform this wound and turn it into wisdom. I have no idea how to do it. I have no idea what it is, but my imagination tells me it's real. I could do that. I could turn my wounds into wonderful experiences, wonderful lessons, wonderful learnings, wonderful expansions of love, wonderful expansions of how I took care of myself, how I used the power of love within me and intelligence within me and the acceptance of myself and the excitement about being a soul who had the courage to jump into this tight body and enjoy your life on the planet. That takes courage. So the wonderful thing happening is there's a polarity to everything. If your wound is showing you, if my wound is showing me lack, limitation, frustration, self-judgment, criticism, all that, those little voices that say, man, you shouldn't have did that. You should have did this. You shouldn't, you're not thinking that way. That's wrong. That's terrible. Nobody's going to love you. You're not going to get any love now. People are going to ignore you. Blah, blah. That little silent voice is your wound going, you can't get rid of me until you love yourself. You can't get rid of me until you love everything. Even your little judgments of the way you wear your collar on your shirt. Bless it. Wounds are a growth of our lack to accept that we are divine expressions of the One. We are divine expressions of an intelligence I can't describe, but I could feel it. I could hear it. It moves me. It's an invisible power. Something wonderful is happening when I can't explain it, but it feels good, right? Something wonderful is happening when I can't explain it, but it feels good. I don't know why it feels good because I didn't do anything, but you accepted that something wonderful is happening right now. If you were 6 years old, you'd be stuck on that experience. Something happening, something wonderful is going to happen. They don't know, they don't care. It could be that they got a new toy and you handed it to them. That's something wonderful. It could be that you picked them up and spun them around and hugged them 12 times. That's something wonderful. It's an energy, a frequency. It's a power we have. I remember in 1987 when I went to the Harmonic Convergence at UCI. First time seeing the Dalai Lama, one of his first visits to the United States. And I sat at the top of the gymnasium watching all of the monks gather while the Dalai Lama was walking out of this long tunnel to be revealed. One of the most wonderful things I ever experienced in my life was when he walked out of the tunnel and I saw him, I felt him at the top of the gym. I could feel his energy. And all I said to myself, as quiet as I could say, because I was so excited I was going to shout it out, I want that. I want that energy. I want to walk in a room and people feel me. They don't have to guess about who I am or what I'm going to do. They feel me because I feel just like them. They just haven't uncovered it. Bless all wounds gets you to something wonderful. Accepting all wounds gets you to something wonderful. That's the direction to go in. Enduring a wound. There are things out there that we take a wound on, and we can't change the external experience that would bring some better feeling good. Letting that go. Being a person who focuses on letting go, especially what they can't control. The wound shrinks. The more you know who you are, the more the wound shrinks. The more you accept what you are capable of, the more the wound shrinks. The more you realize that that wound was an illusion you created. So it would expand your consciousness. It'll shrink. It'll go away. The more we embrace the non-physical and the acceptance of this multidimensional world without addressing a problem, but just accepting the vast, unlimited potential in the universe to be in the presence of love and transform anything in front of yourself, because we're creators. And that capacity and that ability is in our blueprint. But we got to be willing. That's what I think. That's why I came down as a soul, came through the veil, jumped into a body, and says, "Oh," because it became a Raiders of the Lost Art adventure. Discover who you are and return to where you came from. It will be wonderful, because where I've come from is rooted in wonderful. It's decorated by wonderful. It's decorated by mastery. It's decorated by imagination. Curiosity is a great tool to move towards something wonderful. And to use your curiosity to this is what I did. I used my curiosity to create bigger questions about my wounds that didn't involve someone else being responsible for my wound, or I stopped needing people to address their part in my wound. I made forgiveness absolutely my shield. Because if I didn't forgive, I'd still be hanging on to a wound or a wound. So forgiving myself, forgiving myself, forgiving myself, forgiving myself, and applauding myself to be able to forgive myself and know what my self-forgiveness is. That was pretty wonderful to realize, oh, the more I forgive, the more I get closer to loving myself and feeling happier about me. The more I forgive myself for blame and shame and judgment and criticism and let that go and put the polarity on it, it's another version of God. So the moment I'm judging myself, man, you're a version of God that has no flaws. And the moment I'm judging the world, I say, that's an expression of God you're judging. The wounds help me change my conversation to myself. The wounds help me change my conversation to the Creator. And the wounds help me change my limiting beliefs about my potential. A lot of times, a wound in me happened for me to truly, I think 9 times out of 10, is bless myself, trust myself. Now, this is going to sound kind of weird, but it's like, no, I don't need to trust myself. I just trust God. But if God put trust in me, am I trusting God's trust? Which sounds a little codependent spiritually to me. Or am I trusting my ability to trust myself, that it is here and I will find it. I will reveal it. I will allow it. I will embrace it. I will allow it to teach me what is God's vision for my life. It's different than the other 8 million people on the planet. It has a specific blueprint for creation to continue to expand and become something wonderful. I want to play in that video game. If someone told me, man, you could Substance, Mr. Substance, you could become a dynamic light on the planet. All you got to do is jump into a body and go through what human beings go through, but never forget that you're a divine soul and you could change anything. That don't happen for most of us. Most of us get here and it's like, whatever's happening in the world, we go by what the world's doing. because you're either going to be loved or appreciated or accepted or validated. But that doesn't mean that you know yourself, because the world starts to validate you. I entered this world completely and absolutely whole. I entered this world completely and absolutely in the protection of creation. I entered this world in the absolute faith of protection. Nothing wrong is going to happen. I entered this world and eventually learned that I'm an eternal soul, not a temporary soul. I'm an eternal soul. Things will change over and over and over again. Nothing is the same in the universe. And the wounds are sacred, because this is what I love about my wounds. When I decided that I wasn't going to put my attention anywhere else, I was going to put my attention on my wounds, the wisdom of my wounds. Like, I wanted to learn my internal lessons so that I didn't have to keep struggling with the complete lesson. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I wanted to really understand the only life I control is mine. So why don't I put all of my attention in every dimension of my being in becoming an expression of God? And looking at my wounds and go, wounds have no power over God. And if God is inside of me, if God is the expression of me, and we're all creations of God, we're in the same family. We're in the same intelligence. We're in the same room. We're in the same universe. So it's kind of painful when people don't, when I don't catch that sometime, when I turn completely human instead of, Mystic Mike. I have compassion for humanity's fear. I have empathy for humanity's fear. I have such empathy and compassion for the empathy of humanity. We didn't get a blueprint book. We didn't get a step-by-step process. But let me remind you, you had the courage to jump into the light. If you had the courage, I had the courage to jump into the light. And I realized, jumping into the light, I realized when I first woke up from it in the womb, I realized, oh, I'm in the light now. I was in darkness. Everything comes from darkness into light. And I began to understand darkness is powerful for me. It's not my enemy. It's not against me. It's just that place in my experience that says, shine your light over here, or cast no judgments on yourself. The universe is always talking to us, but we're not listening. I started listening. Ask the question, then listen. Don't ask the question and think you know the answer. It's different. Another way that I healed my wounds and moved into something wonderful was when you look at say 100 people, and all of them are human beings, all of them are creators of the one, all of them have the same atmosphere environment you have in terms of the world, and every one of them has a direct line to the creator. You don't have to call the receptionist or make an appointment. You just start talking to the creator within you. It is you, so it's never going to leave you because it is you. If I'm made in the image and likeness of the creator, I looked in the mirror the other day and I go, dude, you look good as the creator. Completely understanding that everybody looks good as the creator. So why not see everybody as the creator instead of a human being? They're expressions of the creator, and have compassion for some who dive in and live in that truth, and compassion and empathy for those who are scared to be in that. Life has so many wounds that are just sacred directions to go in. We heal by what we know. One of my favorite words is abracadabra. Abracadabra, which simply means I create as I speak. So if I speak beautiful things into my wounds, gratitude, appreciation, understanding, if I listen to my wounds, knowing that I can create, transform anything because I am directly connected to the light of the Creator. And nothing is greater than the light of the Creator within each and every one of us. Nothing is more important than that. Because if you're not shining your light, you probably transition to another dimension. But if you are shining your light, there are many chances that more people will see that light and remember who they are on the inside. And they will turn away from the world and start to become a bright, incredible expression of something wonderful. I shine my light because I'm looking to be an expression of something wonderful. Okay, I'll stop there. I could talk forever.
I was just getting comfy. I was just ready to sit there forever.
Wow.
We're so grateful for you. I'm smiling because every time my phone connects in my car, when I get in the Bluetooth, it goes right to my music, and the first song is Abracadabra because it's like in alphabetical order every time. And then I'll switch to a playlist or whatever, or Ami's music. He's on one of my playlists, but that's always the first song. I don't know why it resets to that every time, and so every time I'm always like, I create as I speak. It's like every time I get in the car, it's a reminder. I was smiling. Good reminder for us that we create as we speak. I mean, it's so simple, yet so powerful to remember that our words, everything we're taking in, we're feeding ourselves, because it's like what goes in comes out, right? This circulation. Oh my goodness, we just went on a journey here. I was writing so much down, and then I decided I was just gonna bask in everything here. A couple of things, just to remember, wounds have sacred information and energy. What is my wound telling me? I think that is such an important pause, because like you said, at some point, so often when we have the wound, it's like, just make it stop, just get me away as fast as I can. How can I distract? How can I numb? How can I disregard? How can I make a story, blame or shame or whatever it is, to just ease that wound that is speaking so loudly sometimes, and to really remember that the wound is only showing up because it has sacred information for us, and to listen and ask, what is my wound sharing with me? And then expect something wonderful to be happening. You said, if I heal my wounds, I'll have more uh, trust and confidence and faith. And wounds say, what was this here? Presence of love, the eternal soul. I can bless the wound for the wisdom it brought me. That is also so important to pause on. How often when think of the time when you're in the thick of it, like you're really in it, in the wound. The wound just happened, like you just bleeding. And you go is your go-to to say, let me bless this wound. And it's like what Ami said earlier, if the only prayer you ever pray is thank you, in that moment, thank you, wound, for showing up.
Yeah.
Thank you, because there was something here that I get to lean into and love. You said that, love your wound.
Yeah.
I am the recipient of something wonderful, is what you said. Hello. Hello, God. I'm created by the greatest intelligence, and I know that intelligence knows how to turn this wound into something wonderful. Yes. So many mic drops. I'm the Prince of Peace, Mystic Mike. You are a modern day mystic. We love and appreciate you. Okay, what else? I need my glasses today. I keep trying to do it without my glasses. And they're saying the wound keeps tattering, and you can't get rid of that until you love yourself and bless the wound. And just remember, the wound is there. You created that, happened to expand your consciousness.
Yeah,
What about that?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Expand your consciousness and come from love, because wisdom is in love. Love is everywhere. Love is
Yeah.
everywhere, in everything, all the time. It ain't on the clock. It's a power that's available to keep us expanding in consciousness. But the moment you judge your love or criticize it or make it small, it shrinks back down. You create a wound because you have conditions on your love.
Mhm.
Certain things don't happen a certain way, you take it back like it's yours. Love is not a possession. It's not a possession.
It is
It's not
not.
something you own. It's something you give that expands everything around it. When you activate giving love,
100%.
when you
100%.
activate giving love to yourself and giving love to other people, they don't have to know. You don't have to broadcast it.
Right.
It's an intention inside your physical, eternal soul that can do that magical thing.
Mhm.
But you got to choose it. And we won't choose to give love if we keep judging and criticizing our wounds.
Right. Well, Ami
Because
sang
the
about it
wounds,
this morning about going in the cave, when we want to walk. What did he say? 3 inches thick, the wall. He sang about this today. That yeah, it's so powerful to really recognize that this conversation is like it, because part of our shared humanity is we can all say the wound and we all go, yeah, I know that, what that feels like. We've had that. We know exactly what that's all about. And yet we can all walk through the wounding differently and have a different experience. And what we're talking about here is having a God experience, having an intelligent experience with our
yeah,
pieces of
yeah.
our humanity.
We're,
Yeah.
we're talking about truth of our capacity.
Amen.
The truth of our capacity is a limitless, infinite idea of possibilities.
Possibilities, limitless.
No walls, no dead ends, no destinations. It's a limitless intelligence that we can tap into. But, and because we're human, we're so quick to want to see it, hear it, touch it, feel it before it happens.
Mm.
And some people will hold all of their marbles until they can see what they want to give the marbles to. Okay,
That's
that's
right.
fine. You can do that. You can do that. But look how tight you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't flow to you. You put some energy into that, making that happen when all you had to do was decide to have it and move on to the next page of your life. I'm beginning to understand that. I'm beginning
Man.
to understand that. The painting is not the painter.
Yes. Mm.
I understand that.
We are speaking the eternal language. I love it. I love this conversation. I could just be in this conversation forever. Wounds help me change my conversation and my limiting beliefs. You said that. 9
Yeah.
out of 10 times the wound says, trust myself. I love that part. Thank you for bringing that part because I think this is big conversation in the wounding. So I know we're getting to something wonderful is happening in the workshop. So let's check in with everybody on the live stream. Hi, live streamers. Hello, hello. Hi, Lauren. Okay, let me scroll back here and see. Erica says, beautiful message today. We are not our wounds. We heal through them. Amen, sister. Yes, I love this perspective of seeing this. Jan says, always remember, I am divine soul. Yes, Michael, thank you so much for that reminder. Let everybody see. Dennis is here. He says, thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Nice to see you here. Erica says, just amazing. Thank you. Lauren says, thank you, Michael J. Ami Tabin, beautiful. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Ami, for setting us up for this and talking about the cave and the wounds we can play with. Bob, hi. Welcome in. Happy Easter. Transforming your wounds into a learning lesson and a healing to become stronger and wiser. Yes, yes. I say yes. Erica says, I'm going to re-listen to this message. It was so profound today. I know. I was thinking the same thing, Erica, because I have a page full of notes here. And I thought, I'm going to settle back and just listen in and stop trying to write for a little while. Paris, hi, honey. How are you? She says, good morning, beautiful friends. Love to Michael and Amy. Blessings this Easter morning, this renewal day, this resurrection day, because we get to rise again and again and again, no matter what the wound, no matter the suffering, no matter how deep, no matter how painful, no matter what story we've made of it, no matter what, we get the opportunity to renew, rebirth, and live the kingdom within. Hello. We are talking today about from wounds to wonder. And we are on to something really profound. Because we all have experience of wounding, and all of we're individual, they're different. We just selected them so perfectly to expand our consciousness. What did you say? You said something too earlier. What was it? Something about we're creators. We're here to discover who we are and then return to where we came from. I like how you said, I made forgiveness my shield. Otherwise, I'd be holding on to a wound. Wounds help me. Yeah, that's big because I think that shield is what many people do with a wound. They just shield up. They go into the cave. They wall up. They protect. Right? I don't want to feel this. I don't want to ever feel this again. So instead of continuing to open this like a little more closed off, right? And so we're talking about being in an opposite space of not shielding the wound, loving the wound, giving the wound attention, but not focusing on it. I like how you made a differentiation here in the beginning. You said, I stopped focusing on the wounds and started loving them. Do you hear the difference?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I do. I'm asking everybody. I know you do. You said it.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this conversation. Okay, so we are, let me check in with everybody. Thank you for being here, everybody. This is just a glorious, glorious day. Such a such a day of symbolism. And I love that. Because we do have these certain days that are like very symbolic and we say today's the day, but know that every day is the day the Lord hath made. Glad and rejoice in it. Yes. So we are hi, Lauren. She says, love to Michael, Amy, and all. So glad to see you here. Blessings, blessings. Peace and blessings, beautiful souls. We're so
Oh,
grateful.
Lauren White. Lauren White. Hey, Lauren.
Yes.
I'm
Such a
on
gathering.
Zoom. I'm just looking at Facebook and seeing who showed up to check it out. Yeah. Dennis Bradford. Look at Dennis. Hey, Dennis.
Yes. Yeah. See that? We have amazing soul connections in this life, and it's super exciting that we find each other. So thank you everybody for being here and finding each other because it's a gathering of energy of souls. It's there's no accident. There are no accidents. It's no accident that you're here. I'm so glad. I'm so excited. I'm grateful to go into the time now that we call a workshop, but it's not a workshop. It's like we're an expanding shop. We are
Well,
expanding.
let me say what I believe it is for me. When you get
Yes.
information, when you've opened your consciousness, when you get new ideas, new information, uh, it's like manifesting.
Mm.
Take action.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
would never say stop writing, Amy. I would say keep writing because you took action on the information, or journal it, or
Mm.
come to the workshop and challenge yourself to look at something from a very different perspective.
Yes.
If we
Right.
keep looking at the same perspective of our wound with the same perspective, it's just
Right.
gonna keep growing.
Right.
But
Right.
if we change our attachment to what our perception creates in that wound, we renew it. We rewind it. We clean up our side of the road. We eliminate it. We make it disappear. And, we can make it
Mhm.
tell us what our wisdom is we get from it
Ooh.
because we created it. Did nobody put that wound in there? You put that wound in there. You can, look. You want to heal your wounds? Stop blaming them on other people.
Seriously.
Stop blaming them. If you crossed the veil, came to life, you can't blame
Mm.
people for their life experience. You came here. You knew what was happening. Nobody comes to life blindsided. I'm sorry, you don't, because you come as the light of God.
Amen. That's
If
true.
God created you and you came to the planet, you're already enlightened. You came from God.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. We have too much fun with this, I think. Jennifer says, loving the wound is transforming the energy and perspective we have about our relationship with the wound. Yes.
That's the
Beautiful.
Kundalini lady. That's the Kundalini lady. She knows. She knows.
Yes, yes. Such powerful messages, Jan says. Thank you everybody for being here. We love you.
No.
Let's talk. Let's gather to take all of this and um see how we work it out in our lives and talk about it more and integrate it. That's I think part of what you're saying is like we hear this stuff and it's like now's the time to integrate after we take in new information or new perspective. And it's like always like, God, give me the eyes to see, the ears to hear, the heart to know. And um, these are the places where we transform and it can happen
Yeah.
in an instant. In an instant. And
Even if you
sometimes
don't
I,
know what to do, even if
yeah,
you don't know what to do after you get information, simply say to yourself, I'm gonna do something, walk around the
that's
block and
right.
go, I just heard some new stuff. It was
That's right.
amazing. I embrace it. I integrate it. I feel
That's right.
better. I love it. You know what I mean? The
Mm-hmm.
action doesn't mean there's a specific thing to do. It's like your intention drives
Right.
you to embrace the wisdom.
Right. Absolutely. And just something else for me to mention is it. there's a lot of this space is an activation space. So a lot of times people, you're experiencing something, a transformation, just this awareness that you didn't experience before in our space. And I call that an activation. And so, that it's similar. You allow it. The more you open up to and say, I don't know what this is about. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I don't need to know the whys or the hows. I just say yes to the divine creator to do the magic, to work the divine orchestration, and take care of yourself. Drink a lot of water, get rest, because we tended to need to flush out. And anyway, so many things. I know we're going to talk more. So everybody, thank you for being here. We are so blessed by this connection. If today's message has touched you, if this community supports your growth, we invite you to participate in the sacred flow of giving with us, and know that your generosity allows the space of transformation, of music, of connection, of profound messages. So thank you. Thank you. All the giving can be done through our website, unityinspiredliving.org. We are going to close with our prayer of protection, and then we are going to move over to the Zoom room for our integration, and we're going to talk about something wonderful is always happening, and indeed it is. And this workshop, this space is open to everybody, so come on in. We're going to drop the link here in the live stream feed. It's also on our website, unityinspiredliving.org. I am sharing our prayer of protection with you right now. Receive this prayer. This prayer is for you. A benediction. I want it to land. Allow it to land wherever it needs to, in your body, mind, soul. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. The mind of God guides you. The life of God flows through you. The laws of God direct you. The peace of God abides within you. The joy of God uplifts you. The strength of God renews you. Beauty of God inspires you. And wherever you are, God is. And all is well. Amen. Happy Easter. Happy Renewal Day. Shine on, bright ones. I love you all dearly. Thank you, Michael J., for being with us. We will see everybody in about 10 minutes in the Zoom link. Blessings, peace, and blessings. Much